Before you pick up that spray bottle, stop. Look closely at your plants, at the stems, and at the undersides of the leaves where the aphids cluster. Look at what else is there. You might spot something dark, spiny, and alien-looking. Something that frankly looks like it does not belong in the same garden as your beautiful flowers. You have probably seen it before and tried to get rid of it. It looks like a pest, and it moves like a predator. But if you reach for the pesticide and eliminate it, you will have just destroyed the single most valuable ally your garden has. The one creature standing between your plants and a devastating aphid infestation. That dark, spiny, menacing creature on your stem is actually a ladybug larva. It just hasn't grown up yet. Today, we are going to follow its entire story, from the moment the egg is laid to the moment that famous red shell hardens in the sun. What happens in between is one of the most extraordinary and brutal transformations in the insect world. Understanding it will change how you see your plants, your pests, and that spray bottle under your sink forever. The monster from the egg, the ultimate predator. Let's start with a creature most people never connect to the ladybug at all. The ladybug larva hatches from a small, yellow, oval egg laid in precise clusters on the underside of leaves, almost always right next to an aphid colony. The timing is completely intentional. The mother ladybug assesses the size of an aphid infestation and deposits her eggs right beside it, providing a pre-stocked, living pantry for her babies the moment they hatch. Did you know that mother ladybugs use a clever, almost devious trick? Alongside fertile eggs, she lays infertile, unhatched eggs. Why? It's a backup ration. If aphids happen to be scarce when the first larvae emerge, they will eat these infertile eggs to get a massive energy boost for their very first hunt. What emerges from those eggs looks nothing like the cute beetles we know. The larva is dark, charcoal gray or black, featuring bright orange or red markings along its sides. Its elongated, flattened body is covered in small tubercles and spines, giving it a tough, armored appearance. It moves quickly, scanning surfaces with its mouthparts, hunting from the second it is born. If you have ever seen this creature and reached for something to kill it, you are not alone. It is one of the most commonly misidentified beneficial insects in North America. But the reality is that the ladybug larva is one of the most efficient and ruthless macropredators on the planet. In the days between hatching and pupation, a single larva can consume between 200 and 400 aphids. They have a phenomenal appetite and a highly aggressive hunting style. Interestingly, larvae are practically blind. They don't see their prey. Instead, they locate aphids through chemical signals and physical vibrations, literally tearing through the pest colony by touch. The larva seizes its victim with powerful sickle-shaped jaws, injects dissolving digestive juices into it, and literally drinks the aphid from the inside out, leaving nothing but an empty shell. No pesticide could ever replicate this level of targeting precision. Where a spray kills indiscriminately, the larva goes directly to the problem and addresses it at its source. Across its entire larval and adult lifespan, research shows a single ladybug can consume up to 5,000 aphids. In a garden with a healthy ecosystem, aphid populations are controlled automatically. Cellular soup, a radical rebuilding. But the larva is only the first act. After 1 to 2 weeks of feeding and growing through 4 distinct molting stages called instars, the larva finds a sheltered surface, attaches its abdomen firmly, and stops moving. It curves forward and hardens into a small, strange orange and black pod. This is the pupa, and what happens inside is pure biological chaos. The larval body is actually being partially dissolved and rebuilt. Its tissues break down into what biologists call a cellular soup, a suspension of undifferentiated cells called histoblasts. From this liquid soup, the adult body assembles itself according to a dormant genetic blueprint. The legs, wings, compound eyes, and the characteristic spotted shell, elytra, are constructed from scratch over the course of 7 to 10 days. When the pupal case finally splits, the newly emerged adult is soft, pale, and almost yellow, with faint or totally absent spots. It takes several hours for its exoskeleton to harden as its hemolymph pumps pigment through its body. The red deepens, the spots darken, and finally, it unfolds its wings and flies. And here is another mind-blowing fact. Ladybugs are incredible aviators. When searching for food or migration sites, they can fly at altitudes of up to 3,600 feet, 1,100 meters, and reach speeds of up to 37 miles per hour, 60 kilometers per hour, covering massive distances without stopping. That bright red color isn't just decoration, it's a strict warning. When threatened, ladybugs produce a toxic, foul-tasting alkaloid compound called coccinylline from their leg joints in a process called reflex bleeding. Birds, lizards, and other predators that taste a ladybug once rarely try again, forever associating that bright color with a terrible chemical defense, the invasive threat in your garden. Here is where the story takes a turn that makes that spray bottle conversation genuinely urgent. Not all ladybugs in your garden are friendly native species. Since the 1980s, the Asian lady beetle, Harmonia axyridis, has spread across North America after being introduced as a biological pest control agent. Identifiable by a distinctive M-shaped mark just behind its head, this aggressive competitor outcompetes native species, eats their food, and even consumes the eggs and larvae of other ladybug species. These are also the exact beetles responsible for invading your home by the thousands in autumn, looking for warm cracks to overwinter. Interestingly, humans used to practically worship these beetles. The very name ladybug, or lady beetle, was coined in Europe during the Middle Ages, dedicated to Our Lady, the Virgin Mary. When massive plagues of aphids were destroying crops and threatening starvation, peasants prayed for salvation. Soon after, swarms of these little red beetles arrived and wiped out the pests. The people believed they were a heavenly army sent from above. Today, due to invasive species and thoughtless pesticide use, our native ladybug populations are in sharp, measurable decline. When you spray your garden, even with products marketed as organic or safe, you completely wipe out the food source they depend on. No aphids means no ladybugs, and no ladybugs means the next wave of pests arrives with absolutely zero natural checks on their growth. It's a vicious cycle. More pests, more spray, fewer allies, more pests. How to support your garden's allies. Breaking that cycle begins with a simple decision to wait. The 3-day rule. When you see aphids, give it 3 days before reaching for a spray. If ladybugs are anywhere in your garden, the colony will likely be discovered and managed within that window. Look for the signs. Check the undersides of leaves for those little yellow egg clusters and keep an eye out for the spiny monsters. If they are already on the job, put the spray bottle down. They will do it cleaner and with zero collateral damage. Plant nectar sources. Grow flowers like dill, fennel, marigolds, and yarrow. Adult ladybugs rely heavily on their pollen and nectar between aphid outbreaks. Leave the mess. Keep some leaf litter and hollow stems around through the winter. Ladybugs hibernate in this garden debris, and a perfectly manicured autumn yard strips away the exact habitat they need to return in the spring. Stop the sprays. Ditch the broad-spectrum sprays entirely, and let the natural ecosystem find its balance again. A garden that has ladybugs doesn't need you to fight its battles. It is already fighting them quietly and precisely, one aphid at a time, on the undersides of leaves and in the dark spaces between stems. The next time you see something dark and spiny moving on your plants, look closer. Count the legs, check for the orange markings. You might just be looking at the exact reason your garden will survive the summer. Have you ever spotted a ladybug larva in your garden and mistaken it for something harmful? Or watched a ladybug population wipe out an aphid infestation entirely on its own? Tell me about it in the comments. I read every single one. And if you want to understand another garden ally that most people eliminate on site, one that works through the night in the darkest corners of your yard while you sleep, the next video is already waiting for you.